The scariest thing I saw this Halloween was how the internet reacted to someone criticizing a Warner Brothers product. Here we have a Joel Schumacher themed account talking about a Damon Lindelof HBO series about Watchmen, a sequel series, a what if could be continuation of the comic book, don't call it a graphic novel, Alan Moore will get mad at you. And this guy decided that he was going to get so mad, he was going to change the topic to whether or not Zack Snyder was any good. But we're not talking about Zack Snyder. In fact, the TV show does not follow Zack Snyder's continuity. It follows the original comic continuity, using the squid plot point, as was originally written by Alan Moore. Now, while Dave Gibbons, the artist of the original Watchmen comic, may actually prefer the storyline of the movie, makes sense. He served as someone who was overseeing the story, written by Solid Snake David Hayter, the big boss himself. And you know what? I'd love to talk about the pros and cons of both versions of the story, including their relationships to the sequel series and the movie interpretation, values of what it was trying to say versus a literalization of the concepts. But that's not what was being done here. Someone just said they didn't like the way that Jeremy Irons was portraying this character, and this person got jumped. In fact, he got jumped by someone who admits to being terminally online and says he's going to continue to stalk and harass people and make every conversation tangentially about Zack Snyder unless you block him, which by the way is toxic. It's completely insane. Because if we look at the facts here, when this guy Damon Lindelof, who James Gunn also says is a piece of shit before hiring him for the DCU, when he did his show, Alan Moore called it embarrassing, and the creator says that he put a curse on his project as well. Zack Snyder being the only guy who's ever touched this stuff without getting a pagan ritual for his troubles, which, just kind of goes to show that maybe back then Alan wasn't quite as cranky about it. After all, Watchmen was supposed to revert to being Alan Moore's a year after DC finished publishing it, which is why they republish it every single year to continue screwing over a creator. Now, if you're going to try and say that Zack Snyder didn't understand the source material because he enjoys violence, when at the time of release he said that he intentionally made it to address the fact that people seem to not take any issue with the violence of costume superheroes, which is why you see Ozymandias, the true villain, the architect of evil, spoiler alert, I guess, wearing a Schumacher inspired costume because Schumacher's Batman is canonically Keaton's Batman, and Keaton's Batman is a fucking maniac. So, yeah, even before Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder had opinions about how we are way too comfortable seeing our costumed heroes do unheroic things because of the editing we treat as a good thing. I guess we should have known early on that the internet wasn't really ready to have that adult conversation. But to imply that he didn't understand what he was doing is a lie. You can argue that he didn't portray it in the way that connected with you. You didn't like the message, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. You just chose to ignore it. I'll leave you with a message from Matthew Good, who had to deal with this type of harassment before the movie had even come out, as well as a message from Alan Moore. You're emotionally stunted. Go eat a dick.